All right. Welcome. Welcome to a class to really help us all de-stress and feel better and do it in a very natural way. So, I was very excited to do this because I only advertise this in my nonprofit LinkedIn page. So, I want to really share this topic with you because I think it's just really important right now with stress levels being higher in a lot of people. So, I will tell you a little bit about my journey, and then I'm going to tell you the things that I have done that have absolutely worked. And I'm still to this day doing things to really help myself de-stress and feel better. So, for those of you who do not know me, maybe we're on LinkedIn together. My name is Allie Phillips, and I'll explain my who I am and what I have done in just a couple of minutes. But I just want to start off talking about that we live in really turbulent times right now, and most people at some point in their life may have experienced something very, very stressful, if not traumatic. And it could be a job loss. Maybe it was just financial uncertainty, foreclosure, bankruptcy, loss of health, loss of a relationship. Um, but stress is now normalized as everyday part of our life, and we just take it as normal, but it's not. It's not a healthy way of living. We are constantly surrounded by negative news with 24/7 news programming, social media, the internet. And, while it keeps us informed, it is actually changing people for the worse. And there are some research studies coming out about that. But highly functioning professionals like to stay informed, but with that comes stress, being worn out, being drained and depleted by negative news, and even by other people's chaos and energy. So I just want to set the stage for that. So let me tell you a little bit about who I am. So, like I said, I only shared this class on my LinkedIn page. I am multi-careered. Okay. So I have been an attorney for 31 years. I'm a former prosecutor from Michigan. I specialize in animal protection and family violence and how they link together. And I have spent, of my 31 years as an attorney, I've spent 27 of those years teaching and educating criminal justice professionals. So while I have been in the courtroom in Michigan, I also spent almost 12 years in the DC area and worked for the National District Attorneys Association, traveled around the country teaching prosecutors and allied professionals. I also ran a legislative office for the American Humane Association while I was there, and that also included a lot of travel and a lot of stress. So I have loved every job that I have had. And the impact of helping, I have really loved. But the stress was slowly dripping on me until I had a physical and emotional collapse. And it was just because I was more than fatigued. It wasn't just fatigue, and it was more than burnout. So I actually went to see a doctor. And he was in Washington, D.C. I believe he is still practicing there. And he has 6 medical degrees. He's kind of a mad scientist. And he comes at helping people feel better from a holistic standpoint. And the short story of what he was telling me was that my career was killing me. I was in stage 4 adrenal failure. So adrenals are the cortisol, the fight or flight that give us energy throughout the day. I was in stage 4 failure at the age of 40. I had Hashimoto's thyroid disease. I had Graves' thyroid disease, which both of those are polar opposite, but I had both at the same time. My hormones were out of whack, and I was fueling my energy and very long work days based on caffeine and basically airport food. Okay. It was a recipe for a shortened life and just continuing illness and then potentially something very fatal. So I was put on a lot of supplements. I had to completely change what I eat and I had to de-stress. And when he told me this, I laughed so loud. I'm like, you do not know what I do for a living. And he said, your living is going to kill you. So if you want to keep doing it, you have to change the things that you can change. So I had to make a lot of hard decisions. Now, I had always been interested in wellness and spiritual things. I remember when I was, a prosecutor in the courtroom and I would have a particularly rough day, I would go for a tarot card reading with my friend Dawn. I mean, I would do those sorts of things to make me feel better. And in 2008, I was um, probably 6 months into working with this doctor. I took an energy healing class because a 5 minute sample technique of working on a pain that had been in my shoulder for more than a year, the pain was gone. And my lawyer brain was baffled, absolutely baffled. I could not comprehend what happened, but I was very intrigued. So I started taking classes. And I started with taking Reiki, which is an energy healing technique. And then that opened the doors to another technique called integrated energy therapy. And that's where you really work to get emotions out of the body because emotions will make you sick. I'm going to talk about that. And then it opened the doors to really understanding how crystals work. And I studied with a science teacher, which my lawyer brain loved that. So I learned how they really work and they're not woo-woo. And then that opened up the doors to essential oils and removing toxic ingredients in my life. So that was goodbye to the Bath and Body Works plugins that I loved and all the, scented, hand soap and hand lotions. But eventually I built up enough certifications that I knew I had to share this with people that I was working with and my friends. And so in April of 2011, while still a full-time attorney in the DC area, working for the National District Attorneys Association, I opened up Manifested Harmony. Like I wasn't busy enough, like I wasn't stressed out enough, but I felt very strongly that I needed to do it. And so I would work long hours and travel during the week, and then I would teach on weekends. All the stuff that I was learning. But what I was doing was not stressful. And that was eye-opening to me. Having a second business, working on weekends, it was not stressful because of what I was doing. So now I have 10 different healing and coaching certifications, and I've literally taught thousands of people. So I have this healing, this holistic wellness business, and I love working with animals and helping animals that have been abused and neglected. But then I walked away from that traditional legal employment almost 11 years ago. It was early of 2015 because it was important for my health and I needed to move home to be closer to my parents, both of whom have recently passed away. But what I never planned for was that this business, Manifested Harmony, that I created, that it would turn into basically replacing my legal income and giving me the opportunity to turn my domestic violence pet housing crazy idea into a thriving nonprofit called Sheltering Animals and Families Together. So, interestingly enough, while I am multi-careered, which has the appearance of being stressful, but it's not, And while I am responsible for everything in my life, I don't have a boss to give me a paycheck, I don't have an employer to give me health insurance or any sort of benefits. I am solely responsible for me. I recognize that I'm in control, and that changes the stress into empowerment. And so that's been one of the big things that I've learned. So I just wanted to share that about me so that you know where I'm coming from with all this information. I'm going to tell you stuff that I did, and hopefully, even just one thing you can start doing, just one thing. So, all of my career that I I love the law. I don't like what's happening to it, but I love the law and I loved everything that I did. And so many of the people that I worked with, it was just phenomenal. But the toll of the stress really hit me from the inside out. So I want to show this because this, even when I looked at this today, I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, that's me. Okay, okay, my hair's always been white. I let it go during COVID. Okay. Not always white. It turned white when I was 16. Anyway, that's a whole different story. So this is a picture of me. It was a professional photo taken for my sorority national magazine, and it was taken in 2009 when I was in the throes of working with this doctor to pull myself out of adrenal failure and Hashimoto's and Graves and so many hormonal disbalances. I mean, I kind of look like I was the Walking Dead. I mean, look at that picture. Now, that was a professional photograph, and I look so exhausted and so tired. I look old, and that was 2009. That was the toll that it was taking on me. Okay, here's me today. Okay. I should look I should look a heck of a lot older than I do. But because I did things to de-stress and to physically work on my health and work on my emotions and work on my mental health and do it naturally, not medicate myself. I feel like I'm aging in reverse. Okay. So big difference oh my gosh, when I look at that photo from 2009, I looked chronically exhausted because it was really, really difficult for me to do my work, but I did it and I busted through and did all the things that I wanted to do. So there, so when I think about because I work with a lot of people who are very stressed out. In my business Manifested Harmony, I'm giving presentations like this and really deep diving hundreds of classes a year. But like I said, this is the first time that I've really offered this on my LinkedIn page, which is solely for my nonprofit work and my legal work. And I'm doing a whole podcast series on well-being and wellness and resiliency for my nonprofit. And I just had this idea on Sunday. I'm like, I need to teach for the legal community, for the domestic violence community, what I'm teaching the thousands of people that I've taught through Manifested Harmony. I need to teach this because everybody has stress. Everybody has things going on that deplete and drain our energy. We all go through things that just wreak havoc on our emotions and impact our ability to focus or make snap decisions and create sleepless nights. I remember when I was a prosecutor, I every night took Tylenol PM because I couldn't sleep. That's not healthy. That was a really bad idea, but that's all I knew at the time. So you know the things that are causing you stress in your life, but are you doing something about it? Because I hope by the end of this you realize you actually are more in control than you may think. And too often we just come up with all these stories and all these reasons why something can't change. But in reality, the only thing that we can change is ourselves. That's the only thing. And I love to tell people that when we start working on being healthier, de stressing, everybody around us benefits from that. Okay, so you're not being selfish in your self-care. You're actually helping everyone, your family, your coworkers, your friends, everybody. So stress. Okay. Everybody has stress. Even driving in your car is stressful. Traveling is stressful. Sometimes being around family can be stressful. But stress really, when I think about it, boils down to two things. It's from people and situations outside of us that we cannot change. So it can be an employer, a coworker, a friend, a family member, a child, a neighbor, something outside of us. It can be an institution. It can be something going on at church, something going on in politics, something going on in the world. A vast majority of that, there's nothing we can do. But the second area of stress is our internal expectations, our lifestyle, and our habits that wear down our body, wear down our emotions, and impact our mental health, especially if you are a professional that has just been on the go. You've been in hustle mode, you're working long hours, you're tolerating toxic people and environment, just waiting to get to the end. And here's the thing, we can't change other people or how they behave. And even if they're behaving like a wrecking ball, there's nothing we can do about that. When we try to change that, or when we get worried and fret and fearful, we're stressing ourselves out. They have no idea. And honestly, they could probably care less. They have no idea that you're stressed. So that first level of stress is the thing that we have to let go because we can't change it. You know, there are situations and things happening in this world that we cannot change. There's literally nothing right now that we can do. But the second thing, we can change how we take care of ourselves and we can change how we respond to stressors. Okay. So, stress responses will wear us down, and we are in constant stress, constant stress. Okay. And that stress comes out in four different mechanisms. And these are all hardwired in us, and we can respond without thinking. It's just biological how we respond. And it's the fight. A lot of people have heard of fight or flight, may not have heard of freeze or fawn. So let me just briefly go over these. So fight is hyperactivity, it's urgency, it's controlling. It's when you feel irritable most of the time and feeling that taking care of yourself is a waste of time because you have things to do. You have no time for you. You have no time for your feelings. Feelings are just going to bog you down. You have no time for that. Okay. I see this in moms and high level professionals. So I've seen this in my legal career. And it's really hard to get attorneys and high level professionals to listen to this. But it's like, I am literally the poster child that if you don't make changes, you're going to have a shortened life and it's going to be full of aches and pains and sickness and disease and probably end of of a life too early. Now, flight, this is kind of like a hustle energy where you're always busy. So, you know, I know when somebody is in flight as a stress response when I see them and I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" And the first words out of their mouth is, "I'm so busy." And I just look at that now like, "Oh, I'm really very sad for you." I have a lot of pity for that because I used to be in busy mode, and busyness is not a badge of honor. The people who are in flight as a stress response can't sit still. They are always on the go. They have a massive to-do list. And I was one of these people, massive to-do list. They overanalyze everything. They're unable to slow down or rest. They are addicted to doing. And what they're doing is they're avoiding their feelings. They're avoiding feeling things because if they sit in their feelings, it's like, well, then everything's gonna fall apart. Mama's gonna fall apart and then everybody crashes and burns. No, no, no. If you sit in your feelings, you're actually gonna be healthier. So, people in flight, when they have a moment where they can sit down and relax, they will find something in the house to do. They're like, I need to fold laundry. They will sit outside on their patio. Next thing you know, 10 minutes worth of weeding in the garden that you didn't need to do. Or, well, let me just send one more email. Or let me just look at that report one more time. Let me fix this presentation one more time. It's a perfectionist energy. It's a flight energy. Now, freeze is when your nervous system shuts down to protect you. Okay, so you feel numb, you feel shut down, you feel like you always want to be isolated. And it comes through as procrastination and always feeling tired, and then you berate yourself for being lazy. Now, freeze can come through as functional freeze. And I know this all too well. I recently came out of functional freeze after losing my mom and then unexpectedly losing my dad. And I went into functional freeze. And what that means is you're functioning when you need to be. Like when you need to be functioning at work or with family or with friends or in public, you seem fine. But at the end of the day, when you're alone, when you're at home, you go into physical freeze. It's emotional numbness, and you just frankly don't have it in you to give a damn about anything. So, you go through the necessary emotions during the day, but then you ditch everything once you're home and things are quiet. And you just tend to binge watch TV or numb yourself by scrolling social media. It's a survival mechanism that usually comes out of a shocking or a traumatic event, and it impacts your nervous system and it impacts your body, your mind, and your spirit, and you go into protection mode. Like your nervous system is literally protecting you. Okay, so you physically and emotionally freeze. Now, fawn is something that a lot of people haven't heard of. And boy, I see this professionally, I see it in the workplace all the time. It's when we are faced with a stressful stimulus and you will say yes when you want to say no. And it's because you feel responsible for other people's emotions. Like, I don't ever want to make anybody feel bad. So, and I want to keep the peace. So I'm going to bite my tongue. Or I'm going to laugh at that joke by a colleague that said something very racist, very sexist, very misogynistic. I'm going to laugh it off. That's fawning. You're swallowing your words, you're swallowing your pride. And it also comes through as apologizing when you really have nothing to apologize for. And you just do what you can to avoid conflict, you're avoiding rejection, and this dysregulates the nervous system. And all of these are stress responses. When you do any of these, your nervous system is in a stress response. And when it's in a stress response, the body will remember. Okay, the body is not meant to be on the go like this all the time. Our nervous system is not built to handle all of this. And the body remembers emotional turmoil and stress and it stores it in the body. So let me explain that. So our emotions are like a GPS. They literally guide us. And our emotions will create physical issues if we don't deal with them. If we don't deal with them. And I know this, I've experienced it, and I know people that have experienced it. Here's why emotions are a GPS and why we need to not be so busy and just know what we're feeling. Okay? A lot of people they have no idea how they're feeling because they're like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time. Your emotions are a GPS and they will tell you if something is right or wrong. Okay? When you are joyful and happy, things are right. And when you are grumpy and complaining and negative, something is wrong. Your emotions are telling you what you are talking about is not right for you. Okay? So our emotions will tell you if something is right or wrong or good for you. It'll let you know if you need to leave a job because it's making you sick. You may love it, but it's making you sick. Your emotions will let you know the people that you're hanging around, do they lift you up or do they leave you feeling depleted? I mean, I worked with somebody, I nicknamed him Eeyore. I mean, he was this real super nice guy, but when he came and stood in my doorway of my office every morning, because we were usually the first two in the office, I just wanted to hide under my desk because he was going to tell me about every ache and pain and every issue with his roommate and all the trauma of living in DC and taking the metro trying to get to the office. And it's like by the time he was done dumping all of his problems on me, I wanted to go home and it was only 7:30 in the morning. It's like, oh my gosh, I have a whole day. I got to shake this off. But my emotions were telling me, like, stop listening to him. Our emotions will tell us, like if when we're anxious or depressed, after watching the news, seeing something on social media, our emotions are telling us to stop. Have you ever felt like crap after eating junk food? Yeah, our emotions will tell us if food or drinks are good for us or if they're bad for us. Because when we're sitting down at the end of the day, super stressed, and we go for a tub of ice cream, and then you feel like crap afterward, that's literally your body and your emotions telling you to stop. Our emotions are telling us to stop, to pivot, and to just solve the problem rather than keep adding to it. Okay? So, through my energy wellness business, I love helping people understand that the nervous system and emotional regulation is a foundation of feeling physically well. Because if you feel physically unwell, your emotions are like a roller coaster. There's no way you can feel emotionally amazing and excited and joyful when you feel physically like crap. They are tied together. And our mental state, our mental health, our mindset is directly tied to our emotions. So all of these are tied together. The whole body, mind, spirit is a real thing that doctors now recognize. And our emotions will speak to us, but we have to listen. And if we don't, eventually you will turn numb because those fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses are going to kick in. Now, when our emotions are positive, we're happy, we're accepting, we're open-minded. We do the things that feel right. We just kind of go for it. And our energy is high physically, mentally, and we relate to people well, like we're not having conflict. But during conflict, we tend to diffuse it. And when we're in positive emotions, we do things and time just passes by because we're joyful. Like I love to write. And I could literally be here at my computer writing, and next thing I know, 12 hours has gone by. I haven't eaten, like I haven't gotten up from my chair. And it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm in the zone because I'm so happy doing that. And positive emotions just give us faith. We live more in faith rather than fear. Okay. But when negative emotions take over, so fear, anger, rage, shame, guilt, worrying, fretting, I mean, fill in the blank of all the negative emotions, we tend to be frazzled. We are easily thrown off by another person. Somebody can say something and we are triggered. Okay. The person triggering us is not the culprit. There's something in us trying to heal, trying to get our attention. So we're frazzled. We're more frustrated. We're snippy with people. We're short. We have physical symptoms. Stress causes stomach aches. Stress also will destroy adrenal function. I am the poster child of that. It always feels like a life is an uphill battle. Like, why does this keep happening to me? You know what? Life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. You just got to switch how you look at it. But when you feel negative, you fixate on problems, you fight against everything. Like you're just always picking a fight. And overall, just your life force energy is drained. I mean, I think of that picture of me in 2009. I literally had no life force energy in me. I mean, I remember that time and I just can't believe I looked that sick, but I was. So this is something, if you want to screenshot it, you can. You're also going to get the recording because I'm not going to go through all of these. But I have learned through all of my training and certifications, as well as just my own personal experience, emotions that are not dealt with will turn physical. You notice I use the word will. It's not that they may, they will. It may be instant or it could take decades. Okay, but it will turn physical on the body. And, we can't move forward in life personally or professionally when we haven't processed difficult emotions or traumas. I mean, I just went through 5 years of grief with my mom having Alzheimer's, being in assisted living, watching her decline and eventually pass away. And then 18 months later, bam, my dad has a sarcoma and he's gone in 11 weeks. I couldn't even process it. So I've been through 5 years of grief and I sat with it. Oh my gosh, it was so uncomfortable because I could easily busy myself with two businesses that I run. Nobody runs these but me. But I let myself sit in the grief. And there were days that it's like, I'm not working. I'm not working. I have to take care of myself because grief creates lung issues. And people who have asthma and chronic breathing problems, all I ask them is, what have you not grieved? What have you not allowed yourself to grieve? And I can see it in their eyes start tearing up. Okay. So, we can hold our breath and we can keep moving forward. That's functional freeze. But at some point, you're going to hit a brick wall and you're going to be stopped. And that happened to me. That happened to me. I had a physical and emotional collapse. Physical and emotional collapse. Nobody around me knew it because I just kept going. So it would have, when difficult things happen, as a professional, we're just taught to keep going. Okay. But you have to allow yourself the downtime. So I hope you look at this list. And if you have neck issues, look at the emotion related to it. If you have, especially lower back issues around the kidneys, that's fear. That's fear. So when people come to me and they're like, man, I have lower back and chiropractic work isn't cutting it and Tylenol isn't cutting it, it's like, what are you afraid of? Like, what are you really fearful of? And then you can start working through it as soon as you just identify it, you already feel better. Okay. So I just wanted to share that. So now I want to get into the things that I did and that I still do. And this is kind of the order that I handled things. I mean, I did a lot of things, a lot of things. What I recommend is pick one thing that is small, that is easy, and do it until it's a habit. Do it until it is literally a part of your lifestyle. And then pick another. And maybe there's things that aren't even on this list. These are my top 10 of what I did and what I still do. Because this is about creating healthy, lasting changes. Because when you are well, physically, emotionally, and mentally, everyone around you benefits. So the first thing I did was I detoxed my home and my life. Now, what did that look like? I started learning about all the horrific ingredients in everything that I was eating and putting on my skin. What I learned was what we smell, what we put on our skin, and what we ingest all go into our bloodstream. All right, goodbye candles. Goodbye candles. Goodbye, my Bath and Body Works plugins. Man, I love those things. Now I can't even stand the smell of them. I can't believe I didn't die from all the artificial stuff that was in my life. Lotions, makeup, toothpaste. Oh my gosh, the toxicity in toothpaste is horrendous. Cleaners, what we clean our homes with, perfume. Women wonder why they have thyroid issues. Well, where do we put perfume? We put it right here. It's an endocrine disruptor. And what these do is they create bioaccumulation in the body. You are literally accumulating toxins, and at some point, your organs are going to say, "We're done. We're done. We're so full of crap. We can't do anything for you anymore." So when I started working with essential oils in a specific company, I started swapping out because they almost provide everything. And here's the thing that was really freaky. The first thing I did was I swapped out my cleaners. So I used just one, this essential oil-based cleaner, and it cleans everything. Like I don't have to have a bathroom cleaner and a kitchen cleaner and a window cleaner and no, one cleaner made with plants and it works like crazy. I'm not kidding, a chunk of hair right here on my head started growing back. I look like alfalfa from Little Rascals. I just aged myself. I had a chunk of hair grow back, and the only thing I had changed at that time was my cleaners. And I was using a healthy cleaner from the grocery store. It wasn't healthy. So I'm when I email you all this recording, I'm gonna send you an attachment with the top toxins that you need to know of so that you can start looking at your ingredients because here are the big ones. Fragrance, like that's all the word says. Fragrance, that is a synthetic toxic cocktail. Causes cancer, endocrine disruptions, and the adrenals are part of the endocrine system. PEG, polyethylene glycol, that is horrendous. Parabens, phthalates, sodium lauryl sulfate. Sodium lauryl sulfate is in almost everything. Check your toothpaste tonight. That is really the worst of the worst. So I started detoxing and it worked. And that's why that photo from 2009 compared to now, I look younger because I literally just started swapping out little by little, one by one. I didn't do it all at once. Okay. I didn't do it all at once, just little by little. And now there is nothing toxic in my home. Nothing. That's the first thing I did. The second thing, this crazy doctor with the 6 medical degrees, he was literally a crazy scientist and he was brilliant. He put me on a ton of supplements, but I want to talk about the big ones that are really important if you are fatigued, if you are tired, if you are not sleeping. Most supplements and multivitamins have so many fillers and synthetics in them, your body just doesn't absorb them. Save your money. You really have to find a truly pure, like almost a whole foods, plant-based, bioavailable brand. And when I say bioavailable, it means that the ingredients are totally natural. They come from nature. Our body rejects synthetics. So when it's bioavailable, it is available for your body to biologically absorb. And if you need help, just I'll email you the presentation. You can just respond back. I'm not here to sell anything. That's not what I'm doing. But even if you eat a healthy diet, food grown in America is increasingly depleted in nutrients and minerals. So we need to supplement. So hopefully you have a doctor who will lean towards supplementation before medication because supplements can actually get to the root of the issue. My stage 4 adrenal failure is now stage 1 fatigue, which even that doctor in DC, he said the best you're going to be is stage 2 fatigue. I'm stage 1. Okay, it's never going to be 100% perfect, but that is huge. That is huge, and I can guarantee that the supplements helped. Now, what most people just need to have natural energy and not caffeinate or um, drink soda or Red Bull throughout the day, You need a B complex, all the vitamin Bs. Okay, you need a B complex, you need high levels of vitamin D3. Take it in a liquid or in a dissolvable tablet that goes under the tongue. If you swallow it, you're not going to absorb it. So it's got to be liquid or sublingual under the tongue. And then adaptogens. Oh my gosh. Ashwagandha reduces the cortisol levels because cortisol levels, we're in the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, and cortisol is just firing like crazy. And then it throws off the thyroid, and then you can't sleep and gain weight, and you get cranky, and your hormones go out of whack. Ashwagandha is your best friend. Okay, it'll improve your mood and it reduces anxiety. Rhodiola is good for mental performance and it reduces fatigue and it just protects your body from stress induced damage. And so you're going to look younger. Okay. Siberian ginseng is good for boosting energy, improving focus, and reducing stress induced symptoms like lack of sleep. Holy basil. And you can find these in capsules. Again, get a really good brand. Holy basil balances hormones. It reduces inflammation in the body because disease comes out of inflammation. That's where it comes from. And holy basil is very relaxing. And then reishi mushrooms support the immune system, reduce stress, and improve sleep quality. Now, we also need zinc that boosts our immune system because when we are highly stressed all the time, you're going to get sick all the time. I mean, I was on airplanes so much of the 12 years that I lived just outside of DC. I was like the kid in daycare. Every time I came off the plane, I was sick. Every single time. I don't get sick anymore. I don't get sick anymore. When I'm on a plane, no big deal. I don't get sick anymore because of the supplements. So, and then there's a antioxidant drink that I have drank it for 12 years through the essential oil company that I work with, and it is high antioxidant. It boosts all the body systems, everything. I just feel amazing drinking it. Now, the next thing is eating real food and drinking water. And this is where I usually lose people because they're like, oh, Allie, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. I get it. Here's the thing. We need to drink water. Water flushes out toxins from the body and it hydrates the body. Okay, people look old because they just need to hydrate. They just need to hydrate. So that's an easy thing to do. Just take a big jug of purified water to work and drink it throughout the day. Now, I thought I ate really well. I was vegetarian, mostly organic, but I was eating foods that my body didn't like. I was eating a lot of pasta. My body didn't like that at all. Now, I'm still dealing with those issues, but resolving those because, once the body starts breaking down, it takes time to resolve. But when we eat food from a bag, a box, or a drive-in window, you're not eating food. You're not. I mean, unless you're truly getting a salad without chemical salad dressing. But when we're stressed, we grab junk food. Don't get me wrong, I have my moments. A bag of Whole Foods organic cheese popcorn is my jam. Like when I have moments where that's what I want. But I have also trained myself. I've trained my taste buds and my brain that when I'm really stressed, I crave steamed broccoli and Brussels sprouts. I know that probably makes me the biggest freak on the planet, but I worked with a nutritionist and she forced me every time I was stressed to eat steamed broccoli and Brussels sprouts. So now I tell my friends, if you ever see me with a big bowl of broccoli and Brussels sprouts, you better run for your life because I am ready to blow. Like I am super stressed, but that's what I eat to help myself feel better. So when we eat food that we can truly identify, like this is a banana, this is a walnut, this is a cucumber, like this is chicken. There's not any breading or anything done to it. Like it's real food. You look at it and it hasn't been processed. That's when you're going to start feeling better. And it does take a while. Now, when I was really working like 70, 80 hours a week, I would meal prep on the weekends. I would chop and dice and do all this stuff, and I would literally make my meals, stick them in the refrigerator or in the freezer, and I was good to go. I made all my lunches, made all my dinners because I was exhausted when I came home from work. I didn't want to make anything. I wanted to go through like the Taco Bell drive-through and get a Mexican pizza. Nope, nope. Allie, not a good idea. Don't do that. Mm-mm. I would go home and just warm up my meal, and I started to recover. Now, other things that I did, I worked on some de-stressing techniques, and I will tell you, essential oils. I mean, I've got an oil here called Peace and Calming. Oh my gosh, I snort these like you wouldn't believe. And they absolutely help. There are oils that will energize the brain so you can focus. That's going to be your citrus oils like lemon and orange, even peppermint. At the end of the day, I need frankincense to calm down and help me sleep. But all these de-stressing techniques, you can do them at home. Trying to drag yourself to yoga or to the gym, you're not going to do it if you're stressed, and you're not going to do it if you're tired. You just want to go home. You just want to go home at the end of the day. And when I was so fatigued and sick, that was never going to happen. I wasn't even going to do yoga at home. But I started working with essential oils. I have a house full of essential oils, and they just literally filled me up with frequency. That's the only thing that I can describe it. Like the difference between eating a really healthy salad or a candy bar. Like a candy bar is junk food. It's not going to do anything for me, but that salad is going to fuel me. The essential oils fuel me. And what they also do is they work not only physically, so when I had a backache or a stomach ache or a headache, they also work on emotions, because when you smell an essential oil, it goes right into the limbic region of the brain where we store memory, emotions, and habits. So you can literally smell your way to physically feeling better, emotionally balancing yourself, working on mental health. I mean, lavender releases anger. Bergamot helps with depression. Depression is just unresolved anger for most people. Eucalyptus and peppermint clears out the lungs so you can breathe deeper, because when we're stressed, we breathe very short. Okay. So I put eucalyptus and peppermint together, smell it, and it clears my lungs. I can take a deep breath and it oxygenates my cells. And when my cells are oxygenated, I have more energy. Okay. And then for happiness, citrus oils like orange and lemon are amazing. So these were de-stressing techniques that I did in my office. I did it first thing in the morning. I did them at night, and absolutely they helped, and I still do them to this day. Now, healthy sleep is also important. So you need to be able to fall asleep and stay asleep for 8 hours. And I have a lot of people come at me and say, "But Allie, I can thrive on 5 hours." I look at those people and I'm like, mm-mm. You look like I did in 2009. You look like death warmed over. No, no, that is not healthy at all. So here's the thing, because have suffered from this. If your mind is racing with all the things that you have to do, or catastrophic fear-based, like, oh my gosh, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? Here's what I do. I love frankincense essential oil, not fragrance oil, real essential oil. I put a drop of it on my forehead and I am gone. I am gone. Okay, it's known as a meditation oil. If you can meditate with frankincense, you can pass out and have healthy sleep and really sleep. And what it does is it cuts the chatter in the brain. I literally have a video of a doctor from the MD Anderson Cancer Center doing brain mapping as he smelled frankincense oil and his brain went dark. It literally shut down the brain. So if you have mind chatter and you can't fall asleep, frankincense oil, put a drop on your head, smell the bottle, fall asleep. There's even NIH research supporting that. But the second thing that I do is I take a magnesium supplement. Most humans are depleted of magnesium. We need to have healthy levels of magnesium. So, like a magnesium capsule right as you sit in bed, oh my gosh. Not only are you going to be healthy and healing through the night, you're going to sleep. And when you can have restful, natural sleep, not medicated sleep, medicated sleep does not put you in a REM cycle. Okay. It has to be natural, restful sleep. Magnesium, vitamin, and essential oils will put you there. And you will wake up refreshed and not groggy, and you won't feel like you have to grab caffeine. Okay. The next thing is avoiding draining people in situations. So here's the thing, and this is where we fawn, and it is a nervous system stress response. It is okay to not be around people who complain and drain you. It's okay. You may love them and adore them, but you're going to have days, and it's probably most days where don't take it on. You are not a garbage dump for their emotions. There's a difference between a friend coming to you and venting to find a solution to something. That's always good. The friend that just vents and complains and then walks away and doesn't want solutions, they're just dumping their garbage on you. And so, how do you avoid draining people? Well, just be unavailable. And you don't even have to give a reason. You're just not available. Okay? Learn how to say no. Okay? I have a very healthy relationship with the word no. I don't want to do something? No. It sounds like a great idea. It may be good for my business. Yeah, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. So now, how do you avoid situations that you don't want to be in that could be negative and draining? Again, it's okay to say no without explanation. And if you start a sentence with, I should, like, well, I should go to that meeting at my kid's school, right there, you've already made it an obligation that's going to drain you. We have to stop overscheduling ourselves. We have to stop saying yes to everything. That is a nervous system fawning response, okay? Because we're trying to avoid a potentially uncomfortable situation. And only a couple of times over the years have I had somebody ask me why I said no. And my response was, because I don't want to. No, it's no offense to you and your event that you're having, but I don't want to come and have a booth and sit there and spend 8 hours doing that. I just don't want to do that. How about if I make you a donation instead? Like, um, so what it comes down to is just ask yourself, do I want to do this? Not do I have to do this? Do I want to do this? Like, is this going to make me feel good? Is this going to be a benefit? Like, do I have to do this or can I say no? Because if you can say no, start saying no. That's really important. We have to get out of this busyness as a badge of honor and stop saying yes to everything. All right, de-stress your work. So I got a couple of ideas with this. Here's the thing, and this was hard for me to learn. Hard, hard. Work is just work. And some of us do amazing life-saving work, literally. And for those that are in very highly professional careers, it's easy to have work as our identity. So we talk about work even when we're out with friends and family. And it's because we can't leave work in the office. And at the end of our life, we are never going to reflect back on a meeting that went badly or a deadline that we missed or having yet another Zoom meeting, or we're never going to think about that ever, ever, ever. Take your lunch breaks. Okay? I never did. I ate at my desk. I came in early, stayed late. I ate at my desk. Ugh. No wonder I was sick. Take breaks. We have to get away from the computer. We have to, okay? Take your paid time off. Take your vacation. Leave work at work. And don't be bullied into coming in early and staying late because busyness is not a badge of honor. It's emotional escapism. And if you have a lot on your plate and you just don't see how you can do that, There is this thing called the Parkinson principle that I practice, and it is freakish how it works. And basically, the loose definition of the Parkinson principle is we will complete a task in the allotted time that we give it. We will complete a task in the allotted time we give it. I want you to think back to maybe you're working on a project, maybe you're writing a paper, maybe you're creating a budget for the office or creating a presentation. Have you given yourself a time frame to get it done? Or do you just say, well, when it's done, it's done? That's why things take so long. That's not working smart, that's working hard. When you give yourself a deadline, you will get it done in that deadline. I have practiced this so much, it freaks me out every time I do it. So I have a community where we have a big beginning of the month meetup, and it used to take me 12 hours to create the content and the workbook to give to them. It would take me 12 hours each month. I then told myself one day, I'm going to finish this in 7 hours. And I did. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. The next month I said, I'm going to finish it in 5 hours. And I did. And the month after that, I'm going to finish it in 4 hours. And now I do that monthly content. I took it down from 12 hours to 4 hours because I set a deadline. Give that a try. Seriously, it works. It is the craziest thing. It is the craziest thing. It's called the Parkinson principle. Look it up. It really is a thing. Okay, I'm not making it up. Now, the other thing is, if you have an office or, maybe you have a cubicle, but you have to manage your office space. Being in front of a computer and in an office under fluorescent lights and windows that don't open can create sick building syndrome. It really is a thing. I mean, that was part of what I was dealing with. If you literally have an office with four walls and a door, bring in plants, they're going to clean the air. Bring in a salt lamp, they clean the air. Bring in an essential oil diffuser. And if anybody is like, oh, I'm allergic to toxic scents, first of all, they're not toxic. They're pure and you can shut your door. Because electromagnetic frequencies from Wi-Fi and computers creates what's called EMF fatigue. It is a real thing. I tested this out with some people that I worked with. And it was so funny. It was so funny because one guy had no idea why I was doing this. But I love working with crystals. I'm trained in the science, and this is called black tourmaline. And I went around the office and I put a black tourmaline in front of everybody's computer. And he came into me and he said, what is this piece of petrified dog poo on my desk? And I'm like, just leave it. I'm doing a test. Okay, just leave it. Put it between you and your computer. And by the end of the week, I noticed people were leaving the office with more energy. And that guy came to me and he said, I actually have energy to go to the gym after work. Black tourmaline helps with this EMF fatigue because when we are bombarded with electromagnetic frequencies, we have fatigue, we have brain fog, we have forgetfulness, we have headaches, we can't sleep, we have heart palpitations. We get tinnitus in our ears. It actually can impact our DNA. So it breaks down our immunity. We get anxiety, we get depression, we get nausea, we get mood swings, loss of productiveness. And all that's happening in a work environment where we're supposed to be productive. So this is one thing that I do, and it works. I've literally taught thousands of people to do that. Okay. So these are things that you can do like in your office space. Now, the next thing is we have to avoid numbing activities. That is the nervous system freeze response. Okay. When you find yourself binge watching television, scrolling social media, or you have to have that nightly glass of wine to de-stress, that is emotional avoidance. You're in a nervous system freeze response. Here is my antidote. Do something every day that brings you joy, and preferably something in nature. Now, if you work in a concrete jungle in a big city, find a park, find a tree. I remember one of my bosses, Victor Veith, and some of you may know him. He, I will never forget this. He would always tell me when I was like struggling with creating something, and he would say, Allie, go down to the river and sit underneath a tree. And I'm like, Victor, you're crazy. What are you doing? He's like, go sit underneath the tree. Oh my gosh, all of a sudden I would de-stress. I'm looking out at the Potomac River and I would get these great ideas. And I was writing and creating a lot of stuff. There's a whole science behind what this is and how it works. So when you find yourself numbing yourself, do something joyful that literally brings you joy. Like you feel like a child. If you got to go and swing on a swing set, swing on a swing set. If you need to go roller skating, go roller skating. You need to ditch work and go to a matinee and watch a movie, do it. Been there, done that. Or just spend time in nature. Enjoy the sun. Like, don't have your phone on you. Just enjoy nature, enjoy the sun. I recently moved to Lake Michigan. So I'm on the lake shore of Michigan. I have a beach. Like, I walk the beach and it is so healing. It is so healing, but you have to do things that bring you joy literally every day. Otherwise, what's the point of all of this if we're not joyful? When we are numbing, that is an emotional response that we need to do something joyful. Okay. All right. And then last but not least, it's recognizing that you are more in control of your life than you think. When when bad things are happening and you focus on it, it creates a lot more fear. And then it creates negative, fearful emotions. And then your actions are going to be based on those emotions. And then you're going to get results that create more fear. Here, and I learned this, and I do this in my coaching that I do. When you change your thoughts and change your words, things start to change for you. So let me give you this example of how like you can go down a rabbit hole with your thoughts. Let's say you have a thought of, I don't know what I'll do if I lose my job. I don't know what I'll do. What's the emotion that comes out of that? Fear, fear and panic. That's stress. What's the action that comes out of your emotion based in fear and panic? Well, it depends on your nervous system, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. A lot of people freeze. They don't know what to do. And when you're in fear and panic, you can't think clearly. You can't make good decisions. And so the result is you're just literally at the whim of somebody who could take away your financial security and your career. Been there, done that. It's horrible. Now, that's when you're not in control of your thoughts. Let's switch it. Now you are in control of your thoughts. What is your thought? Your thought in this scenario is, okay, my job and my income may be unstable right now, but I am resourceful and I always land on my feet. And if that rings true for you, as it rings true for pretty much every professional that I know, we always land on our feet. It always works out because it always does. You need to keep telling yourself that. So your thought is, yeah, okay, things seem unstable right now, but I'm resourceful and I always land on my feet. What's the emotion that comes from that? Empowerment. Because I'm resourceful and I always land on my feet. I'm empowered. What does that emotion do to your action? All of a sudden, you get creative, you get resourceful, you start looking at other options so that you don't have to live like somebody literally is going to drop the guillotine on you. And then what's the result? Oh, gee, I found a new job. And it's more secure and I don't have to deal with crazy people. You change the thought, it changes the emotion, it changes your action, and it changes the result. And it all starts with a thought. And if you don't know what your thoughts are saying, listen to your words. Your words are a reflection of your thoughts. Okay. That's why I say you are in more control than you think. And remember the mantra, everything always works out because it always does. Now I want to give you my other favorite mantra. change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. Okay. So if there are upsetting things happening around you or in your life that are causing you stress, what can you do to keep yourself healthy? Because when you are physically healthy, you are also emotionally healthy. And when you're emotionally healthy, your mental health is strong. So, of the things that I talked about, what is one thing that you can do? Okay. When we have negative emotions, especially extreme negative emotions that are chronic, because we're under chronic stress, that is ruining our life. We are not in control. Okay. And if we're being triggered, we are not in control. You have more power than you think because you can literally switch things with a thought. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I want you to really think about that. Release what you cannot control. Remember how I talked about the two different types of stress? We can't control other people. We can't control institutions. We can't control situations. Let it go. You can be proactive with what you can. What you can control is your response and how you want to feel day to day. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening right now. I'm not going to let it steal my joy at all. Nobody's taken that. I gave too many decades of that away. So the moral of the story is you can either make time for your health or you can make time for sickness. I think people in your life would rather have you stick around and be healthy. So, I am on social media for my health and wellness business. I'm on a lot of different social media. On YouTube, I have a lot of free classes. If you literally go to my YouTube page and use the search bar, put in a word where you want more information. If you want more information on anxiety, type it in. You're going to see a ton of classes. So if this interests you, if you're like, I'm tired of feeling physically sick and emotionally out of balance and not having good focus and just being panicked all the time, this is where I talk about it literally every day for 14 and a half years. Okay. There's a lot of information, but I am going to be offering more of this in the legal space and in the space of me working with domestic violence shelters and with domestic violence survivors. So I'm going to be offering this more. So, anywho, um, I haven't seen anything in the chat. And so if there's any questions, you can always email me. I'm going to send you this recording and just feel free to email me if you have any questions, if you need any recommendations for anything. I'm an open book and I will share. And you can find me on the Michigan Lakeshore rock hounding because that's what I do. I think I'm now a professional rock hounder, but that's where you can find me, even in the winter. So thank you for being here. Thank you to those who are watching the recording because there were a lot of people who registered who couldn't make it live. And I just really appreciate you being interested in this. So thank you so much.